Hello, and welcome to the Needs Languages YouTube channel. I'm really glad you're here today. If you haven't yet, please do hit the subscribe button below. This channel is dedicated to personality, communication, and that includes parenting. So today I want to talk about parenting. Now, parents and children both have personalities. And I've been a parent, I've done research on child development. I've been a musical therapist assistant, working with different age groups. And so I understand a lot about child dynamics. And I wrote a book back here called The Needs Language Bring Balance and Belonging in uh oh in parenting. So I've written four, and there's a compilation book that has even more. One of my favorite chapters is free range belonging. Your child's not a chicken, because we always talk about free range chickens. And that's in the big book. So what I want to talk to you today about is Ruby Franke, and I'm going to spend a few minutes on her because I want to talk about the difference between discipline and punishment. And this person is a religious person, so I'm going to bring in a little bit of religion for you. Um, and, we have these sayings in religion that spare the rod, spoil the child. But you don't remember, raise a child in the way they should go, and shall not depart from it. So if you raise your child in trauma, they're going to have a harder time departing from that. That means that they have to retrain their child. And we talk about this kind of stuff all the time. When you have to rewire yourself as an adult, it's very challenging. And there's a difference between discipline and punishment. And I want to talk about that because apparently this person was very popular and did not understand the difference between punishment and discipline. So, what is the difference between punishment and discipline? Well, I'm going to give you some examples. When you tell your child that they can't eat breakfast before their chores are done, that is a form of punishment. I don't know about certain people, but there are people who struggle with brushing their teeth because their parents put soap on their toothbrush. That is not teaching your kids that what they said was inappropriate. What that's doing is saying, oh, as an adult, you're going to struggle with brushing your teeth. You're not helping them brush your teeth. Nobody that I know of is so excited to go grab their toothbrush and start brushing their teeth. Okay, so that's going to be more of a punishment. But what does discipline look like? Because when we discipline ourselves or we discipline our children, that is about correction. And correction is guidance. We're guiding our children to be able to have healthy, successful lives. That means healthy relationships. We're teaching them. That's why it says raise a child in the way they should go and they will not depart from it. You raise a child to see that they are worth something, that they have value and worth. They have worth. You raise a child to see that they are able to do anything and create positive changes in the world. You raise a child to show them that the world doesn't all revolve around them. I like to say this, we can go me, and be in an orchestra by ourselves, or we can go we down the street. And who wants to we in their pants down the street? You need both me and we. You cannot just have one or the other. If you have too much we, you're going to have socialistic and conforming, where people cannot be an individual. If you have too much me, you're going to have self-absorbed narcissism. And I don't really subscribe to that word narcissism, but you're going to have that. So let's go back to Ruby. And let's go back to what discipline looks like. I'm going to share a story of discipline from my perspective with my preteen. My preteen a few years back. Whoever knows how long back it is. So my preteen was in junior high, and I wanted to give them the freedom for certain things. So they found this used shirt that they really liked, but it wasn't appropriate for school. And I said, well, you use your money for that. You have to follow the rules. If you don't follow the rules, there will be consequences. So they wore that shirt to school. The first time I brought them another shirt, they're 13 some years old. Second time they did it, I said, I don't care if you go topless or you have to figure it out. If you have to put your shirt inside out and have it inside out the whole day and be embarrassed, that's your problem. You knew not to wear this to school. If I keep coming and rescuing you, we're going to be in the victim predator rescuer triangle. I need you to learn responsibility. Responsibility is the ability to respond. Now, I did end up throwing that top out because this particular individual, that was my child at the time, refused to follow the rules around it. And so then I had to take it a step further. And they're not very happy with me about it. I think even to this day, they're not happy with me about it. But I said, there are boundaries for having this shirt. You have to follow the rules of society. You have to follow the rules of going to school. You do not punish your child by taking away their um, their needs. That means food. That means bathroom. That means basic privacy. If a child is acting up, you have to decide, is it your sensitivities or the child's needs? What is going on? You have to sit and take the time to evaluate. I know of neurodiverse parents who can struggle with overstimulation. So a lot of crying is a little much for them. So they have to sit back and maybe have a conversation and say, okay, whoa, I need a timeout. I need some help here. A child who is constantly crying and can't stop crying, there's something going on there. Now, I watched a little bit of this woman as she was getting sentenced because she didn't understand those boundaries. And she took her child's bedroom away for a while and made him sleep, I think on a beanbag or something like that. They were a teenager and they had played a prank on their younger brother. Now, the prank was funny. I'm going to share another story. My kid used to take the squeaky toys out of the dog's toys, put them in their mouth, and sit in the classroom and squeak. And the teacher would walk by and the teacher would never know. And they told me this. And I was trying so hard not to laugh. And in this video, she's trying not to laugh at her son's pranks. And I'm laughing. However, what I said to my kid was, you are smart. You just proved my point that you're smart. You have got to turn your homework in and focus on life, or it'll be harder for you in the long run. And you need to rethink about that squeaky toy thing. It is funny. However, it is very disruptive. And there's a time and place for that. And so they were in high school at the time as we had this discussion. Now you may go, Nicole, you're talking about junior high or in a high schooler. You're not talking about a 6-year-old. You're right. A 6-year-old is completely different. A 6-year-old that forgets their lunch, you bring them their lunch. Or you check before they leave to make sure they have their lunch. This is not about your child embarrassing you. And you do not tell the teacher they can go hungry. You are not parenting at that point. They are 6. What you do is you have a conversation with them about it, because you can have conversations at almost every level of a child. It's how you have those conversations. You treat them like a person. And I would have said, okay, 6 might be a little young to be putting your lunch together. Maybe we should be doing this together. And I'm going to have to check going forward because I don't want you to be hungry. And then gradually give them more responsibility. You see, discipline isn't about punishment. Discipline is about correction so people can have successful, healthy lives. And I really want to talk about that because we have too much of this either loosey-goosey, we're going to let our kids run the whole household, or we have these too strict parents. You are not a dictator to your kids. You are there to love and guide them. And there has to be this in between of having these conversations. I remember walking down the street and a little girl, I said something to her across the way. I like your red boots. And she growled at me. And her mother, instead of saying, no, we stop, this lady was not being rude. You can tell her, thank you. I'm having a bad day. I don't want to continue talking. Perfect. Growling at someone is not okay. And the mother justifying and saying, oh, she's just having a bad day. Forgive her. I'm looking at her going, what are you teaching that child? You did not teach that child how to communicate what they were feeling in an effective way. These are the things I'm talking about. That's discipline. So the loosey goosey was saying, oh, they're just having a bad day. It's okay if they growl. Punishment would have been putting them over their knee in the middle of the street and start spanking them. Discipline and correction is, honey, I understand you're having a bad day. This lady was nice to you. You can respond with, thank you, I'm having a bad day and I don't want to talk anymore. Boom. You've skillfully spoken what your needs are. You skillfully taught your child how to speak what their needs are. And that's what that's about. That's discipline. So I'm putting this out there for people to understand the differences. I want to let you know I do have a parenting module that you can go to our website and check out. We'll be putting that up soon about how to effectively communicate with your kids. Again, I've done a lot of research on this as far as people's personalities, what they're communicating, what they're needing. And this is going to be something that's going to be really, really good. I have a workbook that goes with it. And when you understand your child's needs language, when you understand your own needs languages, and you give yourself a voice and you give your children a voice and you guide them into a healthy life, healthy community, they're not going to struggle as much as an adult. Now we all have struggles. I'm not saying they're going to be struggle free, but what I'm saying is they're going to have more apt the skills to communicate and deal with it. So on that note, because I like to end things on a note, I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.